Tenet was the one, right? Where Nolan was like, you got to see this in theaters. We're releasing this in theaters, even though there's a pandemic.
Oh, God. Yeah. I still think it's extremely funny that was supposed to be the movie that saved theaters. It's just so muffled and so just kind of brown and uninspired. It's just like saying that, like, man, I got a piece of art that's really gonna tie this room together. It's gonna class this joint up, and then you just like take a shovel full of dirt and just kind of put it on the coffee table, and then take away the shovel. That's too well made. There you go.
That's savage, man. I like your film reviews.
Thank you. I fucking hated Tenet, and I like Nolan usually.
I definitely enjoy Reese's film reviews, although I think you need an editor.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying that it's really good.
I know. You're just saying that my goofy Letterboxd reviews they need a staff to make it suck less.
That was fucking brutal, man.
God, brutal.
Not an intentional own. I just have a broke brain.
It's too long. If your review is longer than a tweet, you need to trim
I think
some
the
fat,
fact
buddy.
that I've edited this podcast for so long makes me feel like it's okay if I just critique everything Reese says and does. It's just like, okay, well, this is a pretty funny review, but I think we could change this here to make it a little bit more clear. Change the syntax here is a little awkward,
Just negging Reese all day.
he just sends me an email like at the first of every month. It's just got a lot of graphics and colors and underlining, explaining everything I need to do better.
Here are my notes.
Oh my God.
I've reviewed your Steam purchases.
Not impressed.
Some suggestions for next month.
For the next financial quarter, I highly recommend spending less than $2,000 on Panty Puzzler DLC packs.
That's not going to happen. And I also know you would never criticize me like that.
Exactly.
You would understand.
I understand. I understand the need to buy all Panty Puzzler content.
Yeah, of course.
Very important to me. Hello everyone and welcome back to Video Games Are the Worst Thing on Earth. I'm Alton. With me as always is Reese.
Hello.
And Kay.
Hey.
How you guys doing?
Doing okay. I'm preparing myself.
Yeah.
Stealing myself.
Yeah. You know me. I'm buying low, selling high, like I do every day.
That's right. As you can probably tell, like everyone else, we're going to talk about GameSpot? GameSpot?
We're going to talk about GameSpot.
Yeah.
It's a shitty outlet.
The news outlet for video games, because we got to make sure that GameSpot is taken down.
Exactly. It's our number one goal here.
Exactly. We've always that's been the express purpose of the podcast. But no, before we get to GameStop and their stonks and all the financial gobbledygook, we got to follow up on Cyberpunk. So just very quickly, before we get, you have to eat your veggies before you eat your entire bowl of candy. That's how, as an American, that's how I eat all dinner. And just one singular broccoli and then a fistful of Skittles.
Oh no.
All right. So this is from Vitamin Ohm. The GameStop thing's been going wild today. You may have missed this 1-2 punch. Okay, so from IGN, Cyberpunk 2077, official modding tools released. That was 10 hours ago. And then from The Verge, Cyberpunk 2077 bans unauthorized Keanu Reeves sex mod 1 hour ago.
Listen, can I just say on behalf of everyone, this is the real cancel culture.
Exactly.
Yeah, 100%. I thought gamers liked freedom of speech.
Exactly.
I haven't heard of any outrage.
Exactly. Like, gamers are just complete fucking hypocrites. They talk about big boobies being removed, but the Keanu Reeves sex mod? Silence. Utter silence.
Yo, what of Keanu's big boobies?
Yeah,
and you
what
can
about
give
big titties?
Keanu Reeves big boobies. Exactly.
Oh my god. And there was another follow-up article after we released our video from Jason Schreier. And I didn't want to get into it, but basically I wanted to read this one quote from it that I think summarizes exactly what went wrong with the fucking Cyberpunk development. We made The Witcher 3. It'll work out.
That's definitely a great high-level attitude for making one of the most complicated games of all time.
Exactly. Yeah. This is very closely parallel with something that happened with Anthem, because they were running under the assumption that crunching would be fine because the game would eventually come together because of something called BioWare magic. Have you guys heard about this?
I have.
Yeah.
And so apparently there's just a cycle of game developers miraculously not making a massive turd after abusing their employees, and then feeling like, oh, okay, it's fine to do this. It'll end up good somehow. So that's just our quick follow-up on Cyberpunk. It's a mess. It's still a mess. I guess they're fixing things, but who cares? Who cares anymore? Just, I hope somebody somewhere has learned their lesson.
Like, what does fixing mean? that we're able to save and load? Hurrah!
Yeah.
That'd be a start.
As in typical fashion, the modders have had to fix this game by making it possible to fuck Keanu Reeves.
Yeah,
exactly.
Clearly a huge bug and missing feature from the game.
And most games.
Exactly. Just unrelated Keanu Reeves sex mod, and just someone went back in Morrowind and added that in. All right, so let's talk about the reason we're all here today. GameStop. So, what do you guys know about GameStop?
Place that sucks to go to.
Indeed.
Is it like a restaurant, or?
It's like a restaurant if what they served was extremely overpriced used copies of Madden.
Oh, okay. I thought they were gonna have like game, like pheasant.
Wild boar. That would be pretty interesting if GameStop, like they've got that new member of on their board. Maybe that's the pivot they'll go to. Just like you fucking go there for fucking pheasant and wild boar and deer. Holy shit. Welcome.
I mean, you trade in expecting to get a boar, but you only get offered 2 squirrels.
Yeah.
You peeled these off the road, you cheap fucks.
Exactly.
Yeah, I feel so bad for the people who have to work at GameStop because they clearly are understaffed and undertrained and don't know what the fuck's going on. And I bet they get gamers just freaking out at them all day.
Yeah, everything I've heard about working at GameStop is that, like, you get fired unless you successfully upsell, like, hundreds of dollars of shit every week.
That's exactly what it's going to be like when you go into GameStop for just a pheasant for your weekly feast with your lords and lordesses. And they try to upsell you to the stuffed boar. And you're just like, I don't want to get subscribed to Game Monthly. I just want to get my pheasant and go. And then they try to sell you like the add-ons, like the cranberry sauce. And you're like, I have cranberry sauce at home. I don't need this. And I was like, well, if you pre-order the next shipment of game, you'll get extra walnuts included with your large boar. And it's just like, God damn, this model is very inappropriate for selling game.
If you want like an apple in the boar's mouth, that costs extra.
Yeah, exactly. That's a pre-order bonus. Fuck me. So basically, what's happened is that GameStop is a terrible fucking company that is going down the drain one way or another. And financial vampires, having seen this, have put on it something that's called a short, which is basically something insane, and we'll get into because we've got this entire series of tweets explaining it. But they're basically betting that it's going to go under. They'll be able to sell it back to the company for lower than what they initially sold it for. It's insane because the stock market isn't real. and it's just gambling for weird nerds and ghouls.
Yeah. Yeah.
But basically, a bunch of Redditors saw that this was like the most shorted company on the stock exchange, and they basically said, fuck it, and went all in to do what's called a squeeze on these different financial firms, which is when they buy a bunch of stock and consequently make its value go up. But I think maybe we should just get into this series of tweets from Nash. What do you guys think?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, who'd like to read this?
I'll read it.
Alrighty.
All right. The reason they're shaking their fingers at us is the whole GameStop thing is scaring the shit out of them. Reddit just killed at least one hedge fund, maybe more. This could end the practice of shorting stocks as we know it, which is essentially gambling, and they hate it. In case you weren't aware, here's how this completely insane and perfectly legal financial practice works. You see a company in distress, you think their stock is going to go even lower, which, sidebar, for GameStop, before all of this, safest bet in the fucking world, of course it's going to go lower.
Yeah.
So you borrow shares of that company and sell them. Yes, borrow, you can do that. Then you set up a timed order to buy back that same amount of stock. You're betting the price of the stock will go lower, so when you buy it back cheap and return it to who you borrowed it from, you'll have made a profit. If that sounds like gamification of the economy, yep. However, if the price of the stock goes up higher than the price you sold your borrowed stock at, you're going to have to pay more to buy it back than you sold it for, and you have to buy it back because you borrowed the stock. Oh shit. So, you're going to have to scramble to buy shares to cover your short. And when people realize you have to buy this particular stock, the price will shoot up as you become desperate to find someone to sell you enough shares to cover what you borrowed. This is called a squeeze. It's going to be a huge, momentary blip in GameStop's stock price. People are saying Friday, likely when a bunch of shorts come due. Conceivably, for one brief moment, GameStop could hit $1,000 a share. It was $12 a share in October.
Damn.
And I think the current peak is maybe 400 or 500. I think so. I don't think it made it that high, but that is still from $12 fucking insanity.
Yeah, I think the fact that there's this loophole that people can basically borrow stock and sell it, and then they have to buy it back. Everything about our current economy is set up to make rich people richer and just be an insane house of cards that just like a stiff wind will completely destroy. And these financial capitalists are fucking complaining. They're fucking complaining that these Reddit bros are doing this when it's like, you fucking play the game, I don't know.
Yeah, the rhetoric that capitalists have always used to justify their incredible wealth is, hey, we take the risk. We're putting so much money on the line. There's high stakes for us. But you see that the second that risk actually kind of comes home to roost, they all start crying and begging the state to interfere, which little interesting tidbit about who, actually enforces capital there.
All right, there's more after the jump. So this is from @Nash076, which is a very good thread that I recommend people check out. We will retweet it. And there is a police car coming to get me.
For stonk crimes.
For stonk crimes. Exactly. All right, so after the squeeze, the price of GameStop is going to come crashing back down again because it isn't worth $1,000 a share. It's probably really, quote-unquote, worth maybe $5 a share, given their current situation. This is all just pretend. It's madness, and it's the basis of our economy. GameStop was hyping Christmas to save them. PS5, Xbox Series X. Then the pandemic and the demand for processors resulted in lower production on consoles. GameStop didn't sell enough because there wasn't enough to sell. I think they came in something like 25% below expectations. As a company, GameStop is likely finished. What their mismanagement couldn't kill, the pandemic did. All of what's happening with the stock right now is essentially a battle between maggots, vultures, and fungus over the corpse of a company.
I never considered that the underproduction of the PS5 and stuff would lead to a bunch of companies simply moving less product than they thought they would. That's probably fucked over a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, this is especially bad because GameStop has so many fucking competitors that are so much better suited for this environment. All digital retailers are essentially in a much better position because of the pandemic. All physical retailers like GameStop are fucked, basically. So here's another couple tweets down here. He's quote tweeting someone. I have no idea what's even happening. Did a Reddit group / thread manage to spike the stock of GameStop so hard it's fucking over a bunch of assholes? Yep. r/Wall Street Bets saw the shortcoming due and decided to flip the script on the hedge funds. Incidentally, they're eyeing a couple other stocks with shorts coming due. BlackBerry, AMC, etc. This might not be over. Incidentally, I believe what's happening is more or less the ending scene of Trading Places. Man, I have no fucking clue what happened in that movie. Apparently, a squeeze on a short did happen in that movie. Okay, here's some more. The true heart of madness here. The company at the heart of this isn't even at the heart of this. Stocks are supposed to be priced on how well a company is doing. It's investing in a company in the hope that it will prosper, and your piece of the company becomes more valuable. Instead, GameStop in its stock are a target of opportunity. The value of the stock is divorced from the company's performance. It's being used to game the market from two sides, a legitimate quote-unquote hedge fund and an army of individual traders who are in essence crowdsourcing, which is very funny.
Yeah, I'm still kind of processing this like collective action by way of stock trading that we've seen.
Well, I agree, it's very interesting, the collective aspect of it, but I think it should be noted as well from what I've read is that it's extremely obvious what was happening with GameStop, that the amount that was being shorted was getting close to the point where it was going to be very difficult to have enough for everybody to borrow back if anything happened in a direction to squeeze it. So they just saw this and they're just like, it is apparently obvious to everybody that they overborrowed on GameStop because GameStop was such dog shit. It seemed like the safest play.
Yeah.
And so I do think that that's interesting, but I think something that should be underscored is that if these people, these risk masters of money, were as good as they say, maybe they would be able to look past their greed for a second to realize that maybe you're overextending a little bit.
No, Reese. I think you got this all wrong. You see, they can just spend a lot of money on politicians to try and get them to fix their mess for them and prevent the little urchins of stock trading from Reddit from stealing their pie off the windowsill. One thing I wanted to get into is that the first tweet in this series from Nash was quote tweeting some fucking asshole called Jeremy C. Owens, who was apparently a writer at Market Watch. So I want to fucking read this, all right? So this is the thing he was quote tweeting from Jeremy C. Owens. I get that people think it's funny when bad things happen to Wall Street types, but this GameStop thing is not a joke. These are stock traders conspiring to manipulate the markets in open view of us all and using the it's for the lulz and the other side sucks as an excuse. This is the equivalent of cheering on hackers when they're defacing websites of companies or governments you don't like. That doesn't really discourage me.
Yeah, what?
But if hackers are fucking over people I don't like, why would I give a shit?
Yeah.
Well, when those same hackers attack your website or your government, you won't think it's funny. Yeah, I'm sure when these Redditors come from my personal hedge fund, I will be devastated. This fucking moron. Holy shit. He's talking about this like this is something that could potentially affect any of us. Yeah. What? Like, if they did this to any of us, the situation would be we have stock in a company, some fucking financial asshole targets it for a short, and then these guys come in and squeeze them, and that's good for everyone who has stock. Literally nobody but financial industries are shorting on anything. I cannot think of any non-lizard person who would be doing personal shorting of stocks.
I'm not surprised that people think like this, because this is the reality for all of these people. Like, anytime any of them get in trouble, they're always bailed out. They are the only people that the powers that be care about.
Right.
So I'm not surprised that it just slips out that he might believe what is actually kayfabe.
Yeah. All right, there's one last tweet here. Okay, guys, since you're all here on my timeline now, let me tell you what the asshole conspirers on the WSB won't. Sell that shit and get your money. Don't hold. He says hodl. Don't hodl. Recognize your gains before the SEC steps in. Of course they're gonna fucking step in for this asshole. For these assholes. Just fuck me. I hate this country so much. Enjoy ratioing me. I hope you're smart enough to get out fast. Just what a little
He's trying to help. Yeah. What a nice man. Trying to help everybody.
I can't believe he can summon this level of indignation for fucking Wall Street.
I know.
What a little goblin.
Well, like, listen, one of the last tweet from Nash is like, oh my god, after getting owned on Twitter so hard, he took his account private and he went to cry on MarketWatch. And he wrote an article, opinion, stop laughing about GameStop stock mania. No, really. Just like, what a
guys, it's not funny.
I know. Just keep saying it's not funny. That'll definitely convince people.
Yeah, totally makes it less funny. Keep saying it.
Oh. Holy shit. So that's basically an overview of what's happening. I hope that made sense to everyone. Now we've got like a bunch of stuff to cover with like the after effects of this.
If you think money is real after that series of tweets, I'm very disappointed in you.
Exactly.
Message me on Twitter so I can tell you I'm disappointed in you.
All right, so this is a tweet from Wall Street Bets & Co. At WSB Consensus. Melvin Capital to file bankruptcy as soon as next week, according to sources. The bailout they received yesterday from Citadel and Point72 went poof today as the GameStop momentum continued. The fund was forced to liquidate its Alibaba position after hours.
Owned.
Fucking wrecked. It is so, listen, it is so depressing to me that somehow a bunch of yahoos on Reddit, I think, were probably more effective at destroying financial institutions than Occupy Wall Street was. And all they did was buy stock in GameSpot.
This is actually really interesting, though, because there's been so many like posts on the Wall Street Bets Reddit of people like talking about their motivations behind this. And I think a lot of these people were there for Occupy Wall Street and saw that its approach of like non-combativeness turned up nothing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people being like, hey, I was there fucking, 10 years ago when we all went out and did our nice little protest and got beaten up by the cops and told to fuck off. So now I want to take your money. Fuck you. And I love it.
Really?
I went to Occupy Wall Street protests, and that is exactly how I feel.
It is interesting how I think that this is probably a more effective way to fuck over like hedge funds than protest probably ever will be, because it's like they don't seem to exist in the real world. They exist in like this fucking very make-believe world where money can just be poofed out of thin air. And it's like they can bet on borrowing stocks that will be a lower price than when they borrowed and sold it. They can sell stocks that they borrowed and then buy them back at a cheaper price.
I mean, the thing to understand is that unless your protest is about to like storm a Wall Street building physically, why should they care? Like, they're not in government. Like, the absolute most your protests might be able to do, and even this is like they typically don't, is like put a bit of pressure on your representatives. Wall Street people don't give a fuck.
They don't give a fuck. There were Wall Street people talking about how they treated the protest like a heavy rain. They'd come inside the office. They're like, oh, man, a lot of pours out today. Woo! Anyways.
Yeah, of course they did. Like, because a bunch of people standing up there with signs doesn't do anything. there's only one thing that does anything. Well, two things. One is hurting their money, and then the other is just like, Minecraft.
I do want to say one thing, though. I'm a little disappointed that we would celebrate the loss that these workers at the hedge funds received. I think that is very unleftist of us.
God, the most contrarian opinion possible. It's very important to us that workers at the most evil capitalist institution possible are well treated. It's like, oh man, think about how many poor workers will be laid off if you get rid of Palestinian killing R Us.
It's got the same like font on their logo.
Yeah,
as Toys
exactly. Oh fuck.
We're gonna get in trouble for this one, man. You've compared finance sector people to lizards, and now you're saying Palestinians shouldn't be killed.
Oh man, the anti-Semitism.
Trouble.
Oh yeah. God, I'm just like a regular Jeremy Corbyn over here. Next, I'll be saying the most anti-Semitic thing: people should have health care.
We've already been canceled several times. You can't.
Yeah, that's right. You're immune. It's like a booster shot. All right. So what else have we got to cover here? I'm looking at all the articles we've got. Discord apparently banned the Wall Street Bets Discord server, but that was apparently for legitimate reasons because it was becoming like a cesspit of people doing unironic anti-Semitism.
I can't believe Reddit money people.
Yeah,
I do that.
Shocked.
They are apparently coming back, and their Discord is assisting them with the moderation, which is good because I think this is a very good cause, and it's warmed my heart to see Redditors who I normally do not even associate with as people are doing something that is unironically good. I've railed against Reddit many times in the past, and this is just the one instance where they're sort of, I'm not even sure how to describe it. They're like weird monoculturist hive mind has been put to a good use.
I mean, Reddit and 4chan have always had an overlap, but I feel like it's very severe in this Reddit.
Yeah.
I've been creeping around the subreddit and the Discord, and just like the way they talk, like I used to go to 4chan a bit, probably like fucking 10 years ago. And they all still talk the exact same way that people did 10 years ago on 4chan. It's completely in like a stasis. It has not developed in any way.
It's like a Pontypool mind virus. But as long as they're attacking the right people, I guess there's always the possibility of like this Jeremy motherfucker. He's like, you won't laugh when they come after your hedge fund. Oh, and let's also not forget that like one of the fucking most disgusting and evil people of all time, completely blanking on the name now, even though it's like he didn't kill himself.
Epstein?
Epstein was a fucking hedge fund manager.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These people are the villains of reality.
That is like the fucking... He obviously was doing some other shit. Probably working for some intelligence agency. Getting like blackmail on people. But his fucking day job was fucking hedge fund manager.
Just by the juxtaposition, I agree that the Redditors are heroic, but I can't help but have a more cynical outlook about the whole thing. Like, I think if the Redditors were to somehow win, like, it'd be great that hedge funds got bankrupted, but I don't think that anything would actually good would come of them being successful beyond that. I don't know.
I mean, I think for me, it's enough, It's like, these institutions, a lot of the times, they feel fucking untouchable if you're just an average person. And what this has sort of shown is that with collective action, you can fuck them over real hard to the point where they go bankrupt. You can literally destroy these institutions that basically control our country by doing the memes and buying stonks.
There's these moments of sort of rupture that we've been getting a lot of really with increasing frequency the past few years, where these, the contradictions built into capital just become so impossible to look away from, where they can normally be ignored. And this is a great example of that, where it's just being put right into the public eye exactly how this works and what mechanisms will move to protect these Wall Street fuckers when things go sour. And I think that even though the actual act of doing this on its own isn't necessarily much of anything, I think that it simply will, in its way, contribute to a class consciousness developing. Not even necessarily amongst these fucking people on Wall Street bets, but so many normies who are getting dragged into the vacuum of this event, you know?
Speaking to watching the defense mechanisms come up, so I wanted to talk about this tweet from Sawyer Hackett that's basically about how Robinhood is force selling people's stocks to mitigate risk to their portfolios. So he has like 2 screenshots here. And the first one is error. We're sorry. This order can't be canceled as we placed it to mitigate the risk to your account because it automatically sold a bunch of people's fucking stocks in GameStop. And it's very obvious that they're doing this for the hedge funds because a video I watched from the Cavernacle, it described how Robinhood basically functions so that people can buy and sell stocks for free on their platform, right? And they don't take a cut, they don't take a percentage. What they do is they take the data of people selling and buying stocks, and they sell that data to, guess what? Hedge funds and other financial institutions. So
yeah,
Robinhood's entire financial model relies on basically kowtowing to these financial institutions. So, yeah, that's fun. And the best thing about this is that there is an article from GameSpot basically talking about how the class action lawsuits have already begun, which I think is fucking incredible because so Robinhood basically threw itself in the way of a bullet for these like financial institutions, and hopefully they will be taken down as well.
Yeah, the thing is that Robinhood itself is just an app, and the number of people who would be financially ruined by it getting fucking destroyed is so much lower than all the people who stood to lose money if they didn't step in. So it's like Robinhood's going to fall on that sword probably in lieu of any real regulation. That's my guess. These apps are what's going to get regulated. And then by extension, normal people's ability to engage in the stock market will be sort of lessened by that.
After they did this, there was like a rush of people giving them 1-star reviews on different app platforms. And Gizmodo reports that Google deleted over 100,000 negative reviews.
Yeah, that's the most bizarre thing to me. It's like, that's such a visible act of like class solidarity. Why? What, you didn't need to do that.
It's like a fucking daisy chain of these different extremely powerful companies backing each other up. I don't really understand what Google gets out of this, to be honest with you.
I mean, they go to dinner parties with the people who are getting affected by this. Is the result? It's like Kay said, it's class solidarity in like a very real way, that their friends are getting affected, or maybe they're dabbling in stocks as well, not stonks. And, you know, they agree with the guy who says that, oh, do you think it's so funny if this happens, even if they have enough presence of mind not to say it out loud?
I need to read this part of this Gizmodo article for you guys. This is from Matt Novak. This is so fucking funny. Listen to this. A Google spokesperson confirmed the tech giant has deleted the reviews and defended the move overnight, telling Gizmodo over email that it has rules against, quote, coordinated or inorganic reviews. Gizmodo asked how negative reviews could be deemed inorganic when people seemed reasonably upset about Robinhood's actions in recent days. Google stopped responding to Gizmodo's emails after that inquiry.
Fuck. Oh my God. I mean, we have to remember that Google has all the information about every human being on the planet.
Right.
And they're spending a lot of money to analyze it. There is a thing that's been happening recently with them where they fired a bunch of their artificial intelligence people because they were trying to make artificial intelligence less racist. And they just were locked out of their accounts and told not to come back into work. And they did not explain why.
Jesus
But
Christ.
they were all specifically this is what I was pushing when I got fired. So Google is legit going evil white supremacist openly now, in my opinion.
Man, name a more classic combination than white supremacy and capitalism.
You can't, folks.
You just can't.
There isn't.
Just that they're always there together somehow. Oh man.
Yes, no one can be sure why.
Just okay, so in addition to that, they're just every single politician is getting in on this. There was one particularly funny interaction where AOC was quote tweeting an article from Motherboard talking about how it's unacceptable and how she supported having a hearing for the Financial Services Committee. And it just about Robinhood's decision to block retail investors from purchasing stock. And then fucking Ted Cruz quote tweeted her. It's totally agree. Because he's the fucking... Listen, I don't give a shit what contrarian motherfucker thinks about this, but letting Ted Cruz in on this movement is such a fucking bad idea. It's not it's law, even these two can agree about it. No, Ted Cruz is trying to save face. He's trying to regain his public image after the disastrous fucking attack on the Capitol. And letting him worm his way in to this just gives him free good publicity.
Famous good faith actor Ted Cruz agrees with AOC.
Mm-hmm.
Alton, I would like to congratulate you for mentioning AOC without going apeshit and gibbering. I see that so rarely.
Right,
so I just wanted to highlight that.
Now for 30 minutes of me talking about how she should post her feet in response to this.
Okay. Well, that's just normal.
Yeah, that's normal.
That's on brand. Come on.
But yeah, I've seen certain takes around the web because she responded basically saying, go fuck yourself. And there were certain takes around the web by so-called leftists being she's totally insane for saying that he tried to kill her. I'm just come on. You fucking people make politics part of your personality, and you don't even understand how to do it. You don't understand how to do politics.
I wish more Democrats would tell Ted Cruz to go fuck himself. Maybe their party wouldn't be a joke.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, sorry, I just wanted to get that off my chest while it was relevant.
No.
It's so fucking stupid. People taking Ted Cruz's corner in this. Are you a moron? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's baffling.
I think that's all our articles, thankfully. There was a lot to get through there, and now we can get into some fucking very funny things. The meme section of our podcast. Who would like to get us into this? Who would like to read this first one from Poorly Aged Things?
I will read this from Poorly Aged Things. A tweet from Robinhood app back in 2016 says, "Let the people trade."
Oh wow.
Fuck. Womp womp.
Jesus Christ.
Oh shit, and I forgot about this. Yeah, GameSpot fucking retweeted it too with the meme with the monkey puppet sort of looking to the side. And...
Which I because I have dyslexia, I thought, oh, GameStop retweeted this. Just no, it's GameSpot and GameStop.
Yeah, I did think that for a second too when I first saw it, and I thought that was very funny. This is less funny, sadly.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking GameSpot, they fucked it up again.
Yeah, exactly. But there was a very funny tweet. Oh, shit. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, here it is. I found it. From Tristan Cooper. This is the only time I've ever felt bad for brands. From Robinhood, at Robinhood NYC. Robinhood is a 301c3 charitable organization. We are not affiliated with any for-profit businesses that use a similar name. Reply from @Gamersgate, we feel you. Which, if you don't know, Gamersgate is an online retailer for Steam keys and stuff.
Yeah, lads, you need to change your name.
Robinhood and Gamersgate.
Yeah, I saw that from like the from like the National like Sherwood Society or something like that. It's just like, listen, we just talk about mead over here. We are not involved with this.
Yeah, it's so funny. Like, it's funny and sad that people are probably giving them like abuse for something an entirely different company did. You know,
yeah,
there's probably a bunch of people who bought stocks in GameSpot.
Wow. Sorry. I'm just imagining somebody who like goes into work who runs a social media for like Robinhood Bagels, just getting 10,000 tweets directed at them, being like, "I'm going to kill you in your home, bitch." The bagels are good. What's wrong?
Jesus Christ. Oh, fuck. All right. So this is, in my opinion, one of the fucking funniest things I have seen. This is from the actual r/Wall Street Bets. It seems as though, in order to take advantage of the situation, they've discovered the principle of democratic centralism. Kay, why don't you get into this for us? Like, what is democratic centralism, and why is it funny that a bunch of Wall Street bettors are trying to implement it?
Right. So democratic centralism is, as sort of set out by Lenin, was the organizational method that the Bolsheviks implemented as they sort of formed a state post-revolution. It is a Marxist-Leninist method of communist organizing and may differ in some key ways from Wall Street Bets.
Yeah, but essentially the principle is diversity of opinion, unity in action, where once a course has been decided upon by the majority, everyone holds to like what is called the party line.
Yeah.
And it's very funny because this is a post on r/Wall Street Bets called Principles of Democratic Centralism Applied to Short Squeezing. Who would like to read this? I want to have the whole thing read.
I will read this.
All right. Oh, maybe not. Don't say the first thing he says.
Hello, fellow. A word that could be considered pejorative.
Yes.
I'm mostly a lurker, but I just wanted to clarify a few reasons why this GME push was so successful and how it can be replicated for more success in the future. Ultimately, I believe this approach is repeatable. And normally, I wouldn't be so interested in making money, but knowing who it is at the expense has piqued my interest a bit more than usual. This can be a scientific method to expropriate wealth from the worst kinds of rich people, and, well, I do like that very much indeed. So I wanted to share my analysis of this success. Number 1, freedom of decision and debate. The target of GME Shorts was a collaborative effort from the RWSB mass line.
Oh my God.
There was not a single centralized voice of authority that identified and mandated that GME Shorts should be targeted with a squeeze. Users smarter than me identified the weakness of the short positions, and a consensus organically emerged among the users as the information was processed.
So the mass line, now he's getting into Maoism, because mass line is like a Maoist principle where the mass line is basically you talk to the people, you develop your stances, basically, your policies from like it's sort of like an evolutionary process where you talk to them and find out what they want to do, and then you sort of implement that as your strategy into sort of making something that can be popular with a whole bunch of people. Maybe Kay can explain it better. I watched like one video about it.
It's not unlike democratic centralism, but I feel like it's a bit more of a fluid process of developing ideas, where democratic centralism can be quite rigid. Massline, I feel like it's much more constantly checking back, or it's meant to be constantly checking back with the masses and sort of appraising their views on the situation. And then that becomes your party line in the way that like a democratic process and democratic centralism would. The writer is definitely a communist, because like Wall Street Bets libertarians don't know what the fucking mass line is.
Yeah. So far we've got democratic centralism and mass line. All right. So number 2, unity of action. If one consensus clearly emerges, all members are expected to follow the party line and not deviate from the consensus or continue propagandizing against it. Instead, they are committed to the decision made by a supermajority of the other users. The solidarity from Reddit users, holy shit, they're just sprinkling it with like a Marxist like encyclopedia.
Yeah.
The solidarity from subreddit users has been impressive. Hundreds of posts encouraging users to not sell and to buy more has forced the shorts into an irretrievable position. They have no choice now but to lose everything, despite coordinated efforts from their partners in the brokerages. We won, not because we had a perfect strategy or decision-making organization, but because we were unified in our action. This is the most important point. We individuals have less money and thereby less market power than the hedge funds. Obviously, the only way we are stronger than the funds is if we are committed to unity of action. Even if we weren't the ones who were originally wanting to target GME shorts. Oh my god, I wasn't involved until later in the game, but even I bought in because I wanted to be a part of something greater than myself. Of course, not every single retail investor who brought GME made money, but on the net, the hedge funds lost billions that will be divvied up among the short squeezers.
Man, there's so much going on here.
It's so fucking depressing for someone to be like, I'm gonna buy GameStop stock so I can be a part of something.
That is so sad, because this person is clearly a communist. So that tells me that the level of communist organizing where they live is to a point where like this is their outlet for that desire instead of that.
Yeah.
You know?
Listen, organizing is hard. Memes is easy.
Memes come naturally to us as posters.
Yeah. Will you read number 3, Kay?
Absolutely. I just also wanted to say that I kind of respect what this person's doing. They're coming into this den of capitalist freaks and trying to plant these seeds. I don't know if this is effective, probably not, but like, not going to fault them for trying. Number 3, this one's quite funny to me. General organization.
Mm-hmm.
This was actually the weakest point in the chain.
Yeah, well, I wonder why.
And the greatest area that can be improved. A subreddit with 300 new low-quality posts a minute is not quite the best way to arrive at a consensus. I think better voting and discussion systems may be in order to improve this. This is me trying to take advantage of the political to make money based. This is not me trying to make a political post about which candidate you should support or which economic policy I want in my country.
Spoiler alert, it's communism.
Well, this is so funny because, again, this person is clearly trying to, like, this isn't political, guys. This isn't an AOC thing or whatever, like, you know, things will turn off your brain. This is its own thing. That's smart, to be honest. It's simply me talking about applying a method for better organizing the practice of buying stocks I like. The principle of democratic centralism, in brackets, which is a Leninist idea, very funny to me to put that in there.
Yeah.
Is very applicable to organizing future short squeezes. Note that I'm not saying we should manipulate the market or try to drive prices up. I'm just saying that if we all decide we like a stock, we should buy it. And if a lot of people are shorting a stock, that could be a good reason to buy it. And then a little smiley face.
Yeah.
I love this. This rules.
This is so funny that this guy's just like, hey kids, you want to buy some communism?
Yeah.
Just like some guy in a trench coat.
I would have added part 4. Kill the landlords. While not directly related.
In spirit, I think it is. There's got to be a lot of landlords on this fucking subreddit.
Probably. It's sort of
if
like...
you don't have to pay rent, that's more money to invest in stonks.
Exactly. That's what it's all about.
Oh my god. Oh, but it is very funny just watching someone who is assumably another communist trying to like shepherd all the little ANCAPs into being Marxist-Leninists and creating like a Marxist-Leninist stonks party.
That would be so fucking funny.
If they do this before the DSA, I'm giving up on internet and posting.
Yeah, the concept of a party will be dead, and it'll just be about investing.
Yeah.
There are a lot of socialists in the replies, like obvious socialist accounts being like, hey, I like this idea. Wow, golly. Which is funny to me.
But yeah, I think that there's like a weird mix. Wall Street, it's sort of like, this has really garnered a lot of support from places you wouldn't necessarily expect politically. Like, it seems as though somehow financial institutions and hedge funds are unpopular with everyone.
Unless you are actively funding your boat from it, one has probably touched your life in a very negative way at some point in the past 10 years.
It's also been really funny watching like the mainstream media freak the fuck out over this, which I think we should probably try and get to that now. So, oh my god. Here we go. Let's all take a trip to the salt mines. Oh my god. And I want to start us off. Oh, were you going to do a theme for us, Reese?
I was just tooting the salt mines horn. That's it.
All right. So I think I want to watch this video that Reese posted that's like, okay, so I've paused it at 0. This is from Disclosed TV, and it's from New York hedge fund billionaire Leon Cooperman. Fumes at retail traders and shouts, it's a way of attacking wealthy people.
The reason the market is doing what it's doing is people are sitting at home getting the checks from the government, okay? And this fair share is a bullshit concept. It's just a way of attacking wealthy people. And, you know, I think it's inappropriate. We all got to work together and pull together. The reason the market is doing...
What the fuck? He just said that, like, the COVID checks are a bullshit concept. It's like,
yeah, fuck you, bitch. Work together.
Fuck?
I hope.
Yeah.
Central Park for you.
Yeah, well, that's not a solution. That's not a fucking solution. Work together and pull together. Oh my god.
I mean, we're increasingly seeing that's all the bourgeoisie tends to have is like niceties like that when people start getting uppity, being like, no, we're a team, guys.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they also have the entire police force, but I mean, rhetorically, they have, no, we're buds. Work together.
And it's very funny that they're like blaming the COVID relief checks. Like they're blaming this on like the pitiful amount of money that the government has sent out to like cover months of lost wages. Name a more despicable, slimy person. I think you'd have a hard time.
Yeah.
I would not dare.
And so there's like a lot of articles just attacking the Wall Street bets traders, which I think is very funny.
This Wall Street Wrecker tweet that you posted is perhaps my favorite.
Okay, read it out.
This is an image from Forbes, and it's just the headline. It's all you need.
Mm-hmm.
Ignore the populist GameStop hype. Short sellers are the heroes.
Oh my fucking god. That's so cringe. Like, holy shit. And here's another piece from, this is some pictures of John Arnold. So at John Arnold Foundation, GME is the argument against more untargeted stimulus. And then it's the second picture is their profile page, and the description is co-chair of Arnold Ventures. We are all responsible for the welfare of our communities. Somebody replied with a picture from an article. As an executive at Enron, John Arnold walked away with an $8 million bonus at the same time that the company's collapse decimated the retirement savings of rank-and-file employees. A ghoul. A literal fucking undead monster.
Yeah, to his tweets right now, he's right in the middle of trying to talk people down on increasing the minimum wage.
Oh my god.
You're using the argument that maybe Democrats are actually hurting people by doing that.
I don't even know. I don't have anything left in me. I'm just like, I hear shit like that. I'm just like, yeah, sounds right. It's just like, I should be angry. I should be disgusted. I should feel something. But I just see that and I'm just like, yeah, that fits. Just like, ugh.
That's right. You're entering the Reese zone.
Getting back to Robinhood for a second, Reese, tell us what you found on the learning section on the Robinhood website.
Somebody linked this, and this was in the first paragraph. It ruled. So they have an article that was posted in October of last year, I think. It's called "What is Socialism?" And right at the beginning, it's telling us socialism is an economic system under which the means of production are owned by everyone in a society rather than individuals. Historical examples of socialist countries include Nazi Germany.
Fuck me.
Just busting out the lowest effort Ian Miles Chong troll on the users of Robinhood.
Who could forget when Hitler fucking democratized the means of production?
Exactly.
That's everyone's favorite.
I remember that.
There.
You know, if privatization definitely wasn't a concept that became a concept during Nazi Germany. Okay, so to be serious for a second, the term privatization literally had to be invented to describe what the Nazis did in Germany. They sold off vast amounts of state-owned resources and enterprises to private firms. So when people call it a fucking socialist country, they are literally the dumbest people on planet Earth.
Frankly, it's got far more in common with neoliberalism.
I mean, it basically is just neoliberalism.
I largely regard neoliberalism as like a much more PR conscious rebranding of a lot of the same ideas.
I mean, basically the only thing that distinguishes neoliberalism and fascism is that the violence is internal as well as external. Like neoliberalism has tons of colonial violence to secure resources from quote unquote third world countries. And you can see it in all the shit the United States does, putting up blockades around Venezuela and Cuba and backing coups against democratically elected leaders like in Bolivia. And it's all so that they can keep these countries from developing enough to use their own raw materials so that they can buy cheap labor and cheap raw materials from them.
Yeah, and of course, the only real political faction that's been around for the last 100 years who's been wanting to actually make sure that these countries are able to develop has been the communists.
Yeah.
Go figure.
Exactly. So, it's a fun...
Have you considered, Alton and Kay, though, that concentration camp guards are workers?
Yeah, just like hedge fund managers.
Yeah, exactly. I made that joke twice.
It works every time.
Listen, the person that we are slyly referring to, they really deserve it. Like, holy shit. Just there's the fucking contrarians. I can't stand them.
I don't know. I feel like I've become so cynical about everything on Twitter that I feel like it's all for the clout. I don't know what anyone actually believes anymore.
I think that's it. We're getting up to an hour now. I think we should wrap up. But I just wanted to leave us with a comment from the person who should have been our president, Elizabeth Warren. Fuck me. So, of course, Liz Warren is in on this shit. It's like her whole shtick is capitalism just needs to be regulated. That's all. There's nothing else wrong with it.
Before we go, I just want to underscore how little this GameStop thing actually matters in terms of the actual economy of things that will actually get affected in a way that even most of these money people think are negative.
Yeah.
It is just because their little bubble got pierced. You know, and you think about all the fucked up shit they've done during the housing bubble, the way that they will, not that I really care about like brands like Toys R Us, but they'll just like go in there and just give themselves the salaries equal to what Toys R Us is worth, and then just leave with Toys R Us bankrupt. They do all this fucked up shit. And the second one person is just like, what if I could pay for the loan on my car by buying Dogecoin? People lose their fucking minds.
Yeah.
I'm very much enjoying like people posting like the memes from Wall Street Bets where it's like, it's not about the money, it's about sending a message.
Yeah.
So we are all very pro Joker here.
100%.
All right. So I think that's everything. There was actually a statement from Elizabeth Warren, but I don't want to fucking read this.
Yeah, fuck her. Who cares what she has to fucking say?
Yeah.
Ooh,
I tried to read it. All I could hear was snakes hissing. So
yeah, exactly. Just that's the ending message, is that we're talking about stonks, talking about hedge funds. The message we really want to get across is fuck Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah, that's right. That's the ethos of this podcast.
Pretty much, yeah.
Night.
All right, so let's wrap things up. Reese, where can people find you online and your good content?
You can find me at Your Very Good Bud on Twitter, and through that portal you can find my Letterboxd and YouTube accounts where I sometimes upload goofy shit.
Yes, and go check out the latest video from his YouTube where I star prominently in it as a guy whose microphone is way too high. And, we're playing a game called Golden Light, which is a fucking fever dream and a half. And
oh, hell yeah.
I spent the first game that we played in it completely blind and just wandering around under Reese's instructions. So it was it's fun.
And I attempted to send him to his death and was successful, I think.
All right, Kay, where can people find you and your very good ferret Skittles on the internet?
Hell yeah. You can find us on the YouTube at K and Skittles. You can watch my video essays there, and you can follow me on Twitter and call me names at K and Skittles. But if you do, Skittles will beat you up. So
yeah,
been warned.
It's very sad. You also have a Patreon, yes, for all your good YouTube videos that people should go check out.
Yeah. Actually, my lovely patrons just paid basically for Skittles' vet bills because she has a fucking eye ulcer. So very awesome people. Skittles is going to be fine. But yeah, sign up to the Patreon for bonus content and to help me keep Skittles alive.
Ferrets are very expensive medically speaking, from my understanding. Like compared to other pets. Shit is always
fucking up.
They got their shit's all fucked up. They're just extra long and stretched out that it messes with them somehow.
Invest into GameStop and AMC and Nokia so you can make money to pay for Skittles vet bills.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can find
by the time this comes out, that will definitely be great financial advice. Invest in it right now.
Yeah, no, this will come out in like a month or so, and then the GameStop will have like completely fucking imploded. All right, so you can find me at 8alton8 on Twitter. You can find my YouTube at Alton Plays, where I upload just little clips of me and my friends, including Reese and sometimes Kay, playing video games and doing silly things. So go check that out. We have a website that is videogamesaretheworst.pinecast.co, where you can find our latest episodes. You can check us out on Patreon at patreon.com/VGATWTOE, where $1 a month will get you access to all of our premium goodies. Once the pandemic is over, we'll probably raise that up, just an FYI, because now there's people. Now there's 3 people on the pod. The 3-way split of $1 is like 33 cents. Yeah, you can also check out our tweets from the podcast account at twitter.com/VGATWTOE. So follow us on all those platforms, and we'll see you all again soon. Except we won't, because it's an audio format. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Did you say bye, Kay?
Yeah, I don't know if it came through.
It did not come through.
Bye.
There once was a stock that put to sea. The name of the stock was GME. The price blew up and the shorts dipped down. Hold my bully boys, hold. Soon may the tendy man come to send a rocket into the sun. One day when the trading is done, we'll take our gains and go. She had not been 2 weeks from shore when Ryan Cohen joined the board. The captain called all hands and swore he'd take his shares and hold. Soon may the tendy man come to send a rocket into the sun. One day when the trading is done, we'll take our gains and go. Before the news had hit the market, Wall Street bets came up and bought it. With diamond hands, they knew they'd profit if they could only hold. Soon may the tendy man come to send a rocket into the sun. One day when the trading is done, we'll take our gains and go.